Good evening. This is the 21st of November. This is regarding the Adani stocks and the stocks falling during the day anywhere from 10 to 22% today, intraday. And I posted a note during the intraday as well. I wanted to post this voice note during the day, but due to the speculative nature of the stock, I had withheld myself. So, for anyone unaware of the recent news on Adani, the US courts have indicted the Adanis of paying bribes in India for securing contracts for state governments, primarily the AP government, and passing it on to the Solar Energy Corporation owned by the government of India. So, although on the surface it seems like a totally Indian affair and it has got nothing to do with the US courts, the issue is the company in play here, which is Adani Green Energy, has sold bonds and loans to US investors. And any such claim of malpractices or bribes paid will come under the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act under the DOJ. So if Adanis did not sell any bonds or loans to the US, and if they had paid bribes here, it would not be an US affair. But since the money has been borrowed from the US, loans sold in the US, and the same money has been used in India, it has to be properly accounted to the US investors. And since the claim is it has not been accounted so far, that's why it's under the US court systems. So for people who don't know what the issue is. So now what does this mean for investors? 22% seems like a huge fall, and Adani is a great brand. So where do we go from here? See, during the Hindenburg report and the crisis that went, and when the Adani stocks took a hit, I came on my Weekend Trader Journal and said the charges will not stand, and Adani is one of the most dynamic corporations in India, and it is still true to this day, all right? There is no one as fast as Adani's to execute projects. That is still true. But this current issue at hand, I feel, is more severe than the Hindenburg report. To give you a sense of what I feel, let me make a dramatic statement, right? Just to give you the gravity of the situation. You can even mess with the president of the US and get away with it, right? But no one messes with the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice is one of the most strongest and brutally honest, thorough and fast justice systems in the world, right? They're thorough, they have a jury system, and it doesn't matter the politicians, big corporations, it doesn't matter. These guys are like brutally honest, and at times they do make mistakes, right? Sometimes, there have been instances where people have been in prison for 20, 30 years. And if proven that these people are not guilty, the US court systems don't hesitate to come and accept openly that they've made a mistake, right? So that's how thorough and honest these US court systems are. It is one of the relatively best systems worldwide. So long story short, if it was another company with the same news, the stock by close of today, it would almost be a zero, right? Because you're talking about a US justice system. You're not talking about a country which would have a case in its course for the next 20, 25 years and, drag it out. So this is like quick justice, thorough justice, and they do it fast. So any other company other than the Adanis, today the stock value would be zero or close to zero. So a 20% fall on Adani, I feel, is not a big deal at all, because the gravity of the issue is humongous. So can the Adanis get out of it is the question now. See, there have been instances like this. Oracle has gone through a similar situation for corruption. Siemens has actually paid multi-billion dollars in fines for corruption again. So this has happened in the past before. It has happened with the US justice system. Even India has even prosecuted companies for corruption practices. I think there's a recent case on an aircraft company based in US that's been prosecuting in India as well. So these type of cases do exist, but in Adani's case, I doubt it will be a very simple affair, uh, because one of the issues is that it's just not corruption. There have been I see in the news that there is an obstruction of justice by destroying the evidence or tampering with the evidence, something like that. So these kind of situations, based on my experience, the U.S. regulators are extremely harsh with it. So we'll have to see how that goes, right? So that's one. Plus the humongous debt in the balance sheet of Adani and its restrictions now to be not able to raise funds in the US, right? Since this issue is going on, they won't be able to raise any funds, and they've already canceled the new fundraising plan that they had for Adani Green. So just to give you another instance on the gravity of the situation, even Vedanta, which is supposed to raise funds, has reportedly canceled their fundraise in the US because of this situation. So that's how big this situation is. So given the debt of the Adanis, so there could be more pressure on the balance sheet as well as at an operational level, and a lot of the investment banks are going to take a backseat, and sooner or later they could come up with lesser price targets. Plus what happens is, since most of the borrowers they borrowed from banks like SBI and Bank of Baroda, so these PSU banks have already taken some hit today. But if there is still more inflammation in this regards, then I think the banking index as a whole could also be affected. So this is a possibility if it inflames further. So one is the Adani's operational performance, and their debt to equity comes under question. Second is, it's just not the Adanis that are affected. Even similar companies with fundraising plans like Vedanta would have a spillover effect. Third is, since the major lenders to the Adanis are the PSU banks, the PSU banking sector could well be under pressure. And fourth now is the order books, right? See, Adani's is just not Adani Green Energy. Adani is humongous. And within just 4 hours, it's just not even 24 hours, right? So the Kenyan government had come out immediately and canceled contracts worth about $2.5 billion. It's huge. $2.5 billion of contracts that has been awarded to the Adanis has been cancelled within 24 hours. So now, would the other countries follow suit? Possibly yes, because it's not because of this issue, because since all countries are managed by politicians, they could as well get pressure from the opposition saying they'll get bribed. So it is more of a fear factor rather than the Kenyan government having to do with the Adanis. They're just trying to wash their backs. So there could be more of a spillover, and it could affect the order books. But the good part about this is, I've said a lot of bad things. The good part about this is, in FNO, Adani Enterprises has gone on FNO ban. So at least there won't be any speculation, short sales or anything like that starting from tomorrow until the ban is gone. I don't think they're going to take the ban anytime soon. But at least that speculative nature of the short selling would not happen, right? There could only people with open orders or people with equity can sell. So it'll be mostly an organic sell-off rather than a more inflated, fear-related new positions being created on the short side. So that could at least be avoided. But so if you have investments, if you're on a profit, you may want to think about or consult with your advisors on if you want to sell and book profits, and maybe after a month or so reevaluate the situation and enter. Even if it is a little premium price, that's fine. So that is one. Second is, if you already had positions and you should have ideally taken put options hedged today. So the third is, it's better to stay away from the Adani stocks right now, and related banking stocks as well. So the spillover effect is definitely there. So use your better judgment, but this situation is not as same as the Hindenburg's. So exert your better judgment.